All right. Today, I'm going to be talking about Breaking Bad. I'm on season 4, and this is the season finale, episode 13, and it's titled Face Off. If you watch the episode, you'll see why it's called that. I'm going to leave it at this and try not to give too much away, but Gustavo winds up looking like Two-Face at the end of this episode. So let me try and say who's in this episode. So you have Mr. White, Mrs. White, of course. Pinkman's in there. You have the gentleman, I forget his name. He was in a wheelchair earlier in the series, like season 1 probably. He can only communicate by ringing a bell. Him and Gustavo have some history, which was brought up a few episodes in this season. A few episodes ago, you were painted a picture of that character. And, of course, you have the in-laws. And that's pretty much only people that are involved in this episode. So I want to talk about the gentleman in the wheelchair's relationship with Mr. White first. Now, Mr. White's been trying to kill Gustavo for the last 5 or 6 episodes probably. I don't know. I wasn't counting. Yeah. So he can't get to him, of course. You know, he's pretty smart. He's well guarded, but Gustavo lets his emotions get the best of him, and Mr. White knows that, and which makes it so great. The audience isn't filled in on everything. The audience is kept occupied with Mr. and Mrs. White's relationship and the emotions coming from the characters, his son and the sister-in-law. Both of those characters' emotions are, I guess, a distraction for the audience. Not to be, well, I'll say for me, it was a distraction for me. I won't speak on everybody, but it was a distraction for me. I'm like, I'm so concerned with them and why they're whining about this the whole while that Mr. and Mrs. White they know what's going on. They know his life is in danger just as much as theirs is, but he's trying to rectify it, or if I'm using that word correct, he's trying to fix that situation without letting everybody know all of his business, you know? And I'm concerned about that, and the whole time, Mr. White's making moves and plays, but the gentleman in the wheelchair decides to help Mr. White, and that leads to Gustavo looking like Two-Face, which I thought I was not expecting that to happen, because if you watch the last episode, Mr. White tries and fails to old school mafia Gustavo, blow him up with a car bomb. He's a chemist. And that makes me want to get into chemistry so bad. Not to blow people up, but just his ability to switch up like that. He's a chemistry teacher, for God's sakes, in high school. And before that, he was working on some groundbreaking technology, whatever that is. And his partner stole that and his girlfriend, and he never did anything. I like to see him get payback with those two. I'm getting off topic. So that's the relationship between those two. And then I guess I'll just talk about Pinkman. So Pinkman he's under investigation because he's lost a cigarette that had the poison in it, and he thinks the little kid of the girl he's involved with smoked it, imitating. So he lets his mother know that, and the mother lets the doctor know that, and the doctor's like, wait, what? So they call the police, and he's sitting in there. Sal comes back after Mr. White gives the assistant $25,000 to get in contact with him. Jesus Christ. So we have that. I'm losing my track of thought here. Shouldn't be. So $25,000 to get in contact with him. Pretty sure she took a little bit of that. Let me see what else happens in there. Now, yes, Pinkman's worried about. He's actually concerned about the kid. I think he cares about the kid. He's a character. He cares about that kid, and he cares about the woman. So he's under investigation. She won't really talk to him, and the show progresses, and I'm leaving out a lot because I want it to be fresh. If somebody decides to watch this episode or this series, I want it to be fresh. I don't want you to watch it like, okay, I know everything. I know everything that's going to happen A to Z. to me, that wouldn't be fun. If you watch this, it's just like, I'm just venting basically my reaction towards watching this episode and the series in total. So, come to find out, at the end, because I was really curious, it turns out it wasn't the ricin that in the cigarette that caused the kid to get sick. I'm like, so what was it? It was some poisonous berry that gets him. And you see at the end of the episode, that pot is in the garden of Mr. White, if I'm not mistaken. I should go back and watch and double check that. But I was like, Mr. White, he was gonna survive. He was definitely gonna survive. I got this thing on my eye, man. It's bugging me. Mr. White was gonna survive, and he put a plan together and executed it. And man, that is crazy. And all the while, Hank, the brother-in-law, he's like right on the money about where the whole operation was. And, you know, of course they can't move on it. They have to obey the laws. Like I said earlier, Junior and his wife, they're all concerned about Walter not being with the family. And it's like, come on, knock it off. He's, you know what I mean? Like I said, I feel like that was just a distraction for me. Not personally, but as a viewer, I was focused on that rather than focused on what. But see, I don't have unlimited knowledge, so there's no way I would have knew that Mr. White was gonna find some rare berry and somehow give it to that kid and cause all this sickness and stuff, and use that to play on Jesse's emotions in order to get him to fill into his plan so he can take care of Gustavo, because Gustavo was going to kill Mr. White. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And he played it well. And that was a heck of a season finale, man. I cannot wait for the next season. I'm ready to watch that right now. Besides, this is kind of bittersweet. This isn't the last season, but the next season will be the last season. And once I get done watching that, I'm probably going to watch that Netflix-only movie that came out about this series. And then I probably won't record any videos for it, but just because I'll probably end up watching Better Call Saul just to get that out of my system as well. But overall, so far, I think I've probably only disliked 2 episodes, and that's just guessing. I have to go back and look at all the videos, but it's probably only been about 2 episodes where I was like, because I guess they kind of ran out of ideas for a couple episodes. But I don't want to jump on the series. And the series in total has been very good, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in this upcoming season. I've already kind of spoiled myself, or not spoiled myself. I've already kind of I guess in a way I've kind of spoiled it a little bit, because I'm watching this on Netflix and I'm able to scroll through all the season, see the names, and kind of skim through the a little synopsis, which I shouldn't be doing, but now I'm overly excited to see what's gonna happen. So Gustavo's out of there. Seems like Mr. White and Jesse are both pretty much in the clear. Jesse's little family is gonna be on the mend. Now we have to see what happens with Mr. White when he goes and tries to get back into his family. I'm just curious. I'm just curious to see what's gonna happen. It's been interesting up to this point, and I never would have expected it. And I'm trying to think, is there anything I'm missing in this episode? Is there anything I'm missing in this episode? No, I talked about Pinkman. I talked about Mr. White. Talked about Gustavo. Talked about his family. Oh, I didn't talk about Mrs. White. Mrs. White, she's playing her part, but she's being a little too nosy. Little too nosy. When the news comes out that Oh, I should have mentioned that too. So the only reason that they're so interested in this man in the wheelchair is because he asked to see Hank personally, and he has an interesting way of communicating because of the bell. So the lady has a plaque, and it has all the letters in the alphabet, all in like numbers 1 through 9. That's pretty much all you need. Well, 0 through 9. That's all you need to make any number. So you have all letters, and she goes A, B, C, and then he rings the bell. She's like, okay, row A, and she starts going down it, A, B, C, and he like clicks it for whatever letter he wants. So he's spelling out words, and all he was telling the DA guy was, it's like my dick and this, that, and the other, and it's hilarious, very funny. I thought it was hilarious. Man, and then it gets to the end of the episode, and I'm like, so I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next. I'm gonna leave it at that.